In the year 2020, 5,200,000 people managed to become millionaires, and the vast majority of these people are self-made. U.S. financial services firm Fidelity Investment reported that 88% of millionaires built their fortunes themselves, while only 12% inherited their money. When we hear this, the first question that comes to our mind is, how did these people manage to become millionaires? Let us first agree that building wealth does not depend on luck. Self-made people who have become millionaires think and act in different ways than ordinary people. They understand well the mechanics of building wealth and at the same time have sufficient discipline and determination to implement these mechanisms. In 2006, a study was completed to investigate the differences in thinking between the average person and the self-made millionaire, and the results of this study were amazing. For example, middle-class people believe in doing what you love and that when you do something you love, you will create a fortune, while 98% of billionaires do not believe this. Here we ask some important questions. What distinguishes the mentality of a self-made millionaire from the mentality of the average person? And how does the millionaire think and deal with money? What are the most prominent ways and methods used by millionaires to build their wealth? And the most important question is, how can a person who can neither write nor read become more successful than an educated person? In 1964, 29-year-old Robert Taylor founded a small company in the field of soap and cosmetics. With a capital of $3,000, it was a local company in Minnesota until the year 1977. In that year, Robert decided to put liquid soap in plastic bottles with pumps, and he succeeded in developing a special soap formula for his company and called it soft soap. Logically, the next step is to release the product on a large scale, but Taylor was too afraid because as soon as his product would have great demand on it, the big companies will adopt the idea and flood the market with their goods. And that is because they have huge resources and great marketing capabilities that he does not possess. Here, Taylor made a genius move. At that time, the pump market was limited, and only 2 companies produced these goods. So he bought their production for 2 consecutive years in advance, and in the year 1980 his product was put on the market, and it was met with great demand. And as expected, the huge companies rushed to enter this new market, but Taylor's plan succeeded and prevented that and disrupted their ability to produce liquid soap for 18 months. During this time, soft soap was able to establish itself in the market and gain the loyalty of a large number of consumers. Thanks to Taylor's move, the value of his company doubled and he was able to sell it in 1987 for $61 million. This story illustrates an important number of wealth creation mechanisms. For example, owning an ownership stake in a business. Robert Taylor was a sales representative at Johnson & Johnson and he was paid a salary every month, a salary that he saved a little of. Saving is good for achieving a level of financial security, but it is not enough to make a fortune. In an opinion that took place in 2009 and included a group of middle-class people and others from the wealthy class, 70% of middle-class people said that saving and spending less can help them create wealth in the long run. On the other hand, 90% of millionaires were against this idea. The second thing to learn from Taylor's story is that investing in a product that already exists is much better than inventing a new one. According to the 2006 poll, millionaires would rather bet on existing products than on new innovations. The third mechanism of wealth building that Taylor's story illustrates is the formation of relationships. The plastic pumps were worth $12 billion, and this number was greater than his company. So in order to secure this sum, Taylor convinced investors with ties to him. This leads us to another point, which is the use of specialists. Self-made millionaires say they prefer to hire a talented person to do a task and pay for their services, while ordinary people said that they would do these tasks alone even if the results were not the same. And these are the differences in thinking between millionaires and middle-income people. Now let us look at another example. In 1971, a company called B&G Machine and Tool that work in sheet metal fabrication was established. The owner of the company invested only $200 of his own money, and he convinced the owner of a company he used to work in before to help him, and in less than 30 years, this company has become one of the most successful American companies in the field. On the surface, the story of this company is quite ordinary, but the shock was in 1998 when the owner of the company stated that he could neither read nor write, and the way in which this man was able to conceal his secret all these years was that he surrounded himself with the best advisors who summed up everything for him and was directing them according to his analysis. Now we come to the last point. The most prominent characteristic of millionaires is their belief that the lessons they have learned from their failures are one of the reasons for their success. The millionaire is convinced that he will not be able to develop his wealth unless he takes sufficient risks. And if only with the first failure you give up, then you will only gain loss and pain. Here I end my words, and as usual, I have a question for you. In your opinion, can money buy happiness, and can you be poor and happy? I will follow all your answers in the comments. In the end, I hope you liked the episode. Wait for us in another video.